Got it.
All right, so we are live now.
Woo-hoo, we laughed.
We are
We
live.
missed you.
I know. I missed you. I missed you. Right. It's been a while. I mean, there's been a lot going on. So, I had the retreat in South Africa. I came back and had this stomach issue and so I was recovering from that and then just kind of getting back into the swing of things here in the States. And so all of that. And it's here I am today. It feels like it's been a month or so? It's been a while.
About 3 whole weeks. It was 3 full weeks. Yeah.
Too long.
Yes.
It's too long. That's what it is. It's too long. So I'm excited about this conversation. I know you kind of gave me the sneak peek of what we're talking about today. So you want to tell people?
Absolutely. So today is called Eat Smart, Spend Less, right? And it's just basically healthy eating on a budget. And so before we get into the tips of it, this was inspired by a real life situation where we went grocery shopping last week. And so our household, there's 5 of us, including a soon to be 2-year-old. On Sunday, he's going to be 2.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe he's that old. I had no idea.
Yes,
wow.
He's going to be 2 on Sunday. But, so we have 2 teenagers, 2 adults, and then the child or the toddler. And for our grocery bill, and this was just 1 week's worth of groceries, right? Because, we plan our meals all the time, and I'll get into that. It was over $260. 260.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
And it's not even we went and got a whole bunch of stuff. We were intentional about the things that we purchased, but even still, that's what it came out to.
Yeah, so I'm not surprised at all. That's for 1 week. So that means that easily for your household for the entire month, you're spending $1,000.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, easy. That's easy. Because that's when we went with a list. Sometimes we don't go with a list. And I'm going to talk about that too, because when people don't go grocery shopping with a list, they just kind of go and okay, I know I need stuff and let me just kind of get what I usually get. We overspend.
Always.
Right? We overspend when we're not sticking to the blueprint or the grocery list. And so sometimes we
don't go to the grocery store hungry either.
Oh, don't
go hungry.
Don't go by the bakery. Don't go by anywhere where they have some grocery stores have the sushi place, they have the grinder place, the pizza place, they have all of these other things that you can get. Don't do that. Because everything smells good when you're hungry.
Yeah, you're I'm gonna get a little bit of this, I'm gonna get a little bit of that. And $50 later for a little plate. You know what I'm saying? It's
oh, can we talk about that? So they did this. I'm already getting ahead of myself, but there was this article, and I have the link and I'll put it in the community, where this woman said that she went out to dinner with her husband, right? She wanted a salad and he got, a burger and fries. Her salad, a Cobb salad, was over $20 for a Cobb salad with the egg and whatever, corn, whatever else they put in a Cobb salad. $20. His burger was less than $15. His burger and fries was less than $15. So she was saying, here I am trying to eat on the healthier side, and it's costing me more than my husband, who is getting a burger and fries.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So, and I mean, I guess when you think about it, the burger is just probably a patty, right? That doesn't cost too much money. The fries, those are potatoes. Those are fairly inexpensive. And bread, you know what I'm saying?
No, there's no excuse for it, because you can go out there and forage you some lettuce now. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. You can
go out there and get it is not less expensive to go get you some lettuce and some eggs from a chicken than it is for you to slaughter an entire cow. And it's just not.
You are so right. I can't even argue with that. It's true, right?
It's by design. It's really crazy. And then even, one thing that really stood out to me too, while I was in South Africa, is that it's, for me to get something in the States that, let's say I was going to make a meal, and then easily that one meal, right, when I go grocery shopping for it, is going to cost me anywhere between $50 to $100 just to create the meal, right? I mean, and of course you have leftovers and things like that. So it stretches a little bit more if you were going to go to a restaurant. But that same thing in, in South Africa, maybe would have cost me a third of the price for the same thing, And so that's the thing. It's like, it's just so expensive here. But when I go and talk to people from other countries, sometimes they're like, well, Americans are rich, right? Like you've got all this money and all this stuff. And like, but it's like what we have to pay, it's so much more expensive that our money is not stretching as far as it would stretch in other places. So anyway, I know that you got a whole thing prepared for us. So
well, no, that's good. No, that's good. It puts it into perspective, right? And so like sometimes people think like, I don't have the money to eat healthy. And, and then like you said, people think Americans are just rich, and it's all about perspective, right? It's not always greener. The grass is not always greener on the other side, but yeah, we're going to get into it. So I just want to say in 2022, food costs rose 12%, double digits. 12% in 2022. And that was according to the Consumer Price Index, right? So they track these things from year to year based on our spending habits and, what we're spending on average, right? And so year over year, so from last year, well, when I got this was on the 26th. So on 2/26/22 to 2/26/23, year over year, fresh vegetables and fresh fruits, those prices rose 8.4%. Right. So overall, we're up 12%. But if you segment it to fresh fruits and vegetables, those by themselves went up 8.4% from a year ago. Right. And so when you think about, how you just said people think in America, like Americans are rich, right? Well, we have different spending habits on food. And so they categorize them, or they, I guess, classify them based on like your region. And would you guess what region in the United States, right? So you got the North, the South, the East, the Midwest, like of all the regions, which region do you think spends the most on food?
The West.
Yes. They do.
Yes.
You're right. The West, and then the Northeast, where we are, we're second place, and then the Midwest, and then the South spends the absolute least of all of the regions on food. But like I thought we would be number one, because it's like we have colder climates, right? And so like fresh, we don't have access to, or I don't want to say we have access to. It's a little bit more of a process to get fresh fruits year round. I mean, I guess it's the same thing on the West. It is the same thing on the West.
I mean, there's a lot of farms in the West, on the West Coast. There's a lot of farms. There's a lot of farms here in this region too, though.
Yes.
But I don't think it has to do with that. Like, I'm just thinking everything is more expensive. Like you're talking about, like in general, right? Like, these are the two most expensive regions.
Yes,
right?
You're right.
So things are going to be costing a little bit more.
A little bit more. Yep. You're right.
Just because when you're running a business and you want to make a little bit of profit, you have to put that, you got to put your costs to run the business, to run the farm or whatever into perspective. Yep. I'm thinking that that's automatically going to shoot those prices up. Like I said, it's not, it's like when you're in another country that where let's say the currency isn't as strong, or the economy isn't as strong, and you'll get the same things that you can get here maybe, or like another equivalent, but you're paying way less for it. It puts it in perspective. It's not necessarily about the crops themselves. Right. You're right. Or like,
there's more to it.
There's more to it. Yeah.
There's margins, right? People are trying to make a profit. They're in business. And so those, in order for them to maintain their profit, sometimes that price gets trickled down to us, and we are, as consumers, end up footing the bill. So I get, maybe that's just me being like, I can't believe we spent so much money on groceries. I thought we would be number one, but we're number two.
I mean, but it's still ridiculous, right? Like, it's still ridiculous. Regardless.
Yes. And so the U.S. Department of Agriculture, right? They have like these recommendations, right, based on household size. And I looked them up, right? So there's four USDA food plan categories, right? So there's the thrifty, the low cost, the moderate cost, and the liberal. Okay. And so I just looked up a family of four because it's disproportionate once you get to 4 or more, or 5 members or more. So it doesn't go up in proportion when you go from 5 members or more, right? And so they base it off of two adults and 2 children, and then they say the children are between 6 and 8. So these numbers are skewed if you have older children or younger children, and we have older children. But if you are on the thrifty plan, the USDA food plan estimates a family of 4 spends $932 a month. Now, thrifty is like the bare minimum. You don't have leftovers. You don't waste any food. You just get what you need to eat, and that's it, right? That's the thrifty. Then if you're low cost, you're about 1063.20, so $1,063.20. That's again for a family of 4. Okay.
Jeez.
If you're moderate cost, you're $1,212.40. So $1,212.40 on average for a family of 4 every month, right? And then if you are liberal, which sometimes I feel like our household is liberal.
You're like, let's just go and get what we want.
So not even that, like, it's just whenever I don't have a list or we don't have a list, we just overspend, or I would say overinvest. We always do. They're at $14.76 a month.
You see what I'm saying? Like
$100.
That's more than I pay in rent. You know that,
and that's food. And so, like, you know the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. How he says, "You fool, you ate your wealth," right? Like, what did that man do with all his wealth? Well, he bought food and he ate it all. You ate your wealth.
You fool.
like
right. Oh,
I mean, man. So those are just some of the classifications, and I honestly, we are between moderate cost and liberal cost for our household. But I would like for us to be on the thrifty plan.
No, but this is the thing. It's like, first of all, when we talk about people starving, right?
Yeah.
And not being able, like we joke sometimes about like, oh, I'm on the ramen noodle diet, but that's real. You know what I mean? It's like people are eating that way and not getting the nutrients. And we wonder why we have all of these different health issues. So it's like, what is the sustainable answer to the fact that we are right? What's the solution? What's the solution to that? And does that mean that, we are buying directly from the farmers or directly from the slaughterhouses, as gross as that may sound to some people, but that's how you get your food. That's how you get your meat. If you eat meat, or going directly or fishing for your
or
food,
growing your own food if you're able to do that.
Right. Like, and then how does that work, to put a little bit of effort into how you get your food, and then you can save some money.
Absolutely.
But that right there is the whole job, isn't it though? Like, to do that and to get, so we have to plan what is the alternative, right?
Yeah.
And it might be a little unconventional, but what is the alternative, the healthy alternative for your financial health and for your physical health, right? Where you can still get everything that you need and provide for yourself and or your family.
Absolutely. I like in a neighboring town where we live, they have this like community, I guess like garden, I guess you want to call it, where they, or like a crop share kind of.
Yes. Crop
right.
sharing,
and so like people, invest into these crops, and they have, you should see them. You see them in the springtime, the summertime, even a little bit in the fall. You have like these older women who are retired, and they tend to those crops like it's their job, but the community benefits from it. You know what I mean? Because they have the time. That's what they do. But I think when I saw that, I was like, oh, what is that? And they're like, oh, it's the, the crop share where, these people are tending, these people come, I'm like, that is such an awesome idea.
Yeah. And I think crop sharing, right? So those of you who are in our community and listening to this, crop share. Google that, right?
Yeah.
Google that, because I think that that's going to be a new term for some people, and a foreign concept,
Okay.
of
Yeah.
like sharing these crops, or being able to have a plot of land, or being able to take from somebody else's plot, you know what I mean? Like within a understanding, like that's going to be a new thing. So go and look that up, for anybody who's not familiar with that term itself, and then see if there's a program around where you live, because they don't exist everywhere. I don't recall when I grew up, I grew up in Louisiana, in New Orleans. I don't recall there being a crop sharing. I never heard of that, right? Until I got to the Northeast. So you wonder, where do these things exist? Is there a regional equivalent for some of these things?
Right.
And sometimes it's going to be people going to the farmers market if they don't like boost all the prices all the way up, at the farmers market. So it's like access,
Right.
right?
What it is.
And we got to be aware of it, because 1470, however much you said that was in the liberal. It's like who's gonna do all of that, with people, with the cost of everything going up in the way that it's been going up, and with my paycheck not going up.
That's what they say.
Like,
everything else is going up, but
except for the dollars in my pocket, for the dollars. You understand, everything else got nerve. Everything else has nerve to go up, except for the money in my change purse. It don't make no sense. I mean, and then the companies will sit up here and be like, well, inflation's a myth and there's no recession. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll go up there and they'll justify. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna put nobody on the spot now. I'm not gonna put nobody on the spot.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put nobody on the community. We're gonna have to put them in the community, because
not everybody is aware. Sometimes, how in times of let's say of like negative cash flow for the rest of the country, right? How there be some businesses or some individuals that are doing really well, they don't feel that there's something going on that's bigger. So they look at like their old research to say, well, according to this research, this is the fair wage for what you would need. And according to this research, this is what, this is the living whatever situation, right? And so they continue with that. And so for companies who are relying on old research and they haven't updated their studies, they do have evidence that what they were paying was good for the time that they did that study, but things have changed. Things have changed so quickly, and everything has gone up so quickly, that it's like, okay, well, how do we deal with the situation? And is this our main priority right now? Or is our priority staying afloat? Right. And then, if the people who are working here aren't happy with it, then that's all right. They'll figure out a way to feed their family. They'll figure out a way to do all of that. They're not saying that, but
they're saying it, just not out loud.
Right. Exactly. They saying it through their actions. Right. So y'all are going to figure that out. And if you don't like it, you can find someplace else to work. Right. So it's like
ridiculous.
But that's the truth of the matter. And as the individuals who, are working for these companies or trying to just feed our families and trying to be holistically well, we have to make decisions that where we have to understand that nobody has our back like we do.
Absolutely.
Right. We have to understand that and stop putting our faith in anybody that's not us.
Somebody outside of you, basically. Because nobody cares about you like you care about you. Nobody.
Right. Don't sit up there and control my food. You know what they say about that, right? Don't control my food supply. If I let somebody feed me, then I can let them take that away from me. Absolutely. Right. There's all these little sayings out there, and these quotes about what it means when somebody else has the control over how you eat.
You eat what they feed you.
You eat what they feed you. And what is that?
Yeah.
right?
A lot of times we don't know. A lot of times we
That's
don't.
true.
We really don't. That's the mystery.
Right,
Like they have
right.
those Starburst candies with a mystery. That's a lot of times
The
within our food,
mystery.
a big
Yeah,
old mystery, and then it's like
a big old
years
mystery.
down the line, these things come up and they're like, well, what do all of these people have in common? Let's see. Oh, were you a person that ate such and such back in
Yep.
2020 and now you're
You was like,
suffering
I ate that every day.
you know what I'm saying? And now you're suffering from this ailment. Call us now. You might be eligible for this class action
Civil
suit.
case.
Yeah, it's
Lord.
true. Because they gotta go back and they're like, wow, I know we said that because I don't know if people are aware, but there are certain things that these regulatory organizations, yes, we're not going outside just yet. Gotta wait a minute. You want to go outside. But it is too cold. I don't even know what the temperature is right now. That allows certain amounts of chemicals. And these chemicals could be, look at this, he's about to break my window. These chemicals can be cancer causing chemicals, known to cause cancer, but in small quantities, they are allowed to put them in the food, allowed to put them in the skin products, allowed to put them in, our laundry detergent, because they say, oh, it's such a minimal amount. Yes, we know it causes cancer, but it's only a small amount, but a small amount over an extended amount of time accumulates and adds up, right? You're just increasing your exposure to it. And these organizations allow it because that's what's in the recipes and that's what's in the makeup of these products. We eat the products we wear. This boy is really trying to break my glass. Okay, let it go.
I see.
He just trying to break. We're gonna go outside, but you have to wait a minute, okay? My goodness.
So okay, so I know that your baby is calling you. So so what are what are the tips?
Our tips, right?
Let's get into the tips.
So I did want to say that the average household, I don't want to let this one go. The average household wastes 32% of the food it buys. The average household. Doesn't matter the household size. 32%. A third of what you buy, you waste. And
so you're just throwing your money down the drain. Wow.
32%. But we have some strategies we can use to save on the amount that we're spending and still eat healthy. The first thing I want to suggest is that whenever you are going to go grocery shopping, number one, have a grocery list. Create a grocery list, right? And your grocery list should be based on meal planning. So plan your meals ahead of time and use that as what you're going to put on the grocery list, right? So if you plan your meals ahead of time, you know what you need for protein, grains, the beans, what you need for vegetables, fruits, ahead of time, and you're creating that list only for those items. Because when you buy the snacks, you're paying more for the snacks and getting less quantity, right?
Right.
So before you even head out to the grocery store, you say, okay, I know on Monday we're going to have whatever. Tuesday, we're going to have this. Wednesday, I plan on making this dish, but it should last me till Thursday. So we're going to have leftover meat or leftover whatever, and we can just repurpose it for the next meal, for the next day. Do that for the whole entire week and make sure you check your pantries, make sure you check your cabinets, make sure you check your refrigerator before you put those ingredients on the list, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the store and I'm like, you know what? I don't even have any, let's say ketchup. We don't have any ketchup. There's no ketchup. We go get a big thing, a big 2 thing of ketchup, only to open up the cabinet and be like, wow, we have a 2-pack up here. Yes. So that helps you from buying unnecessary items, buying duplicate items. Check your pantries before you go, check your cabinets before you go, check your refrigerator before you go, and make sure you don't already have those things, right? And so that's going to help you to reduce, the duplicates, getting too much stuff that you don't necessarily need. So plan your meals, make your list, and check your stuff before you go. The next thing I want to say is, this is kind of like a 3-for-1. So you're going to buy in bulk, look for sales, and look at those, what do they call them? Like price-friendly stores. So Aldi is like a price-friendly store, right? price conscious, I think is what they call them. So you're going to buy in bulk, because a lot of times when you buy in bulk, you get more for your money. You know what I was looking at?
So that would be like doing a BJ's or Sam's Club or Costco, something like that. Right.
And do like the staple items, right? So like, if you know you cook a lot of rice, then get like a big bag of rice instead of those little bags or the little boxes, or however you buy your rice. Beans, right? If you know you cook a lot of beans, you can get a big bag of beans. I mean, some people do canned beans, but you can get like the big bag of beans, or
right.
Just buy those things in bulk if you know that you're going to be cooking them. Maybe on Monday you're going to have rice, and then on Thursday you're going to have rice again, right? So just, you're going to need it more than once throughout the week. So buy those in bulk. Also look for sales. There's nothing wrong with getting something that is what do they call it? Like a store brand, right? You don't have to get the national brand.
The generic.
National brand. Yes, the generics, right? Some people say, oh, it tastes different, but taste it's an acquired thing, right? And if your budget doesn't allow for you to get Heinz ketchup every week, then you go ahead and get you the tomato ketchup or whatever.
Whatever it's called.
Whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't always have to get the national brands. And I will say this, right? So coming from the pharmacy world, they do it all the time. So they have brand name drugs. Right. And then they have authorized generics. You know what the difference between an authorized generic and a brand name is?
The name on the label.
That's the only difference. Is one says the brand name, one says the generic name. They're manufactured in the same exact way at the same exact plant from the same exact company. But the price is a fraction.
Now I have heard recently this came up. Somebody was saying that they had a generic. This is kind of off topic, but speaking to that though, because I did have a question about this. They had a generic something or the other medicine that they were not prescribed, that they were prescribed the other thing, but the generic messed with them and they couldn't take the generic. They had to take, the brand name.
Okay. So there are hundreds of generics, right? Generic just means it has the exact amount of active ingredient, but the fillers, the process can all be different. If it's an authorized generic, they're the exact same thing.
Gotcha.
So it could say Teva or Teva, whatever the drug is brand, and then the generic. They're the same exact bottle. The only difference is one says the brand name and the other one says the generic. Those are authorized generics. And if you're just talking about a regular generic, that's not necessarily an authorized generic. It's just like, okay, in our state, the state we live in, by law, you have to give the least expensive option. So even if the doctor writes on it the brand name of the product, by law, you have to dispense the least expensive option, because then you're thinking, okay, least expensive to who? It's least expensive to the pharmacy, least expensive to the consumer, right? So who is the least expensive to the insurance company? So by law, you have to give the generic. Unless they put brand name medically necessary, do not substitute. Those are the only exceptions, right? So if they write brand and they put those, keywords in there, then you have to give the brand. Other than that, they write the brand, the generic is dispensed. But for a person that has had the brand name before and then say it recently became generic, if it's not an authorized generic, it's just another manufacturer who got the recipe because the patent has expired. So now they know exactly how to make it. They know how much of this active ingredient. They can put whatever fillers they need to get the shape that they're looking for, the color they need to, the size they need to, as long as the active ingredient is equivalent to that of the brand.
Got it.
That's just a whole.
Got it. So circling it back to food, thank you for that. So circling it back to food, it's okay to buy the store brand. It's okay. It's okay.
Absolutely. It's okay to get the store brand, right? Like you want your food to taste well, but our food is supposed to be fuel, right? So if the purpose of it is to fuel your body, and you know that you're going to get the same level of fuel and circulate a little bit of less money on it, then why not circulate less money on it or invest less money on it? So go ahead and it's okay to get the store brands or the generic brands, buy in bulk, look for the sales. Some of these stores have like rewards programs or like
Yeah.
look and see if there's like flyers or coupons or what's on sale this week. And if it's in alignment with what's on your list, then that's how you shop, right?
We get it. Gotcha.
And the last thing I want to say is when it comes to eating healthy, it's okay to buy frozen fruits and frozen vegetables, because the frozen ones are less expensive, right? They're less expensive than the fresh most of the time. You can get more for your money when you get the frozen, and they're convenient. So fresh fruits and vegetables have a short shelf life, right? You buy them, you need to cook them within the week, because after that, they're probably not going to be any good. Where if it's a frozen fruit or vegetable, they're clean, they're chopped, they're ready to cook or use however you want to. You want to put them in a smoothie, you want to put them, whatever you want to do with them, you can do that with them. So I will say, if you're looking for fruits and vegetables and you live in a region where you don't have access to fresh fruits, at a reasonable price year round, buy them frozen, right? And they have the same nutritional value as the fresh ones do. You just look to make sure that they don't have any extra preservatives or anything extra. What you want them to do is to be picked when they're ripe and then frozen right away. Right. So you don't want any extra steps in between that could compromise the integrity or, mess up the nutritional value. But studies have shown that there's the same amount of nutrients in fresh and frozen fruits and vegetables. So that is an option if you were looking for saving money and eating healthy on the same time, right? So just buy your fruits and vegetables frozen.
All good tips. Thank you, Dr. Ness. Love all of those things. Listen, it's 2023.
Ooh.
For some of us, it's already been a weird year.
Right. Yeah.
Right. For some people, it's already been a weird year. I've been saying since the end of last year that I feel in my spirit that this year is going to be a year of transitions. Years, right? You feel that too? Transition years are never easy. Right. So a transition, that means we're going to be going through some things on multiple levels. We're going to be exposed to different things. We're going to go through some hardships. We're going to come out the other side differently and better. So this is the time to start to, prepare for some of those things. Reduce where you can reduce, right? The economic impact to your household. Okay. Reduce some of that and increase the nutrition that's going into your body and increasing and fortifying your body and your energy levels and all of that stuff. This is the time to do it, right? So those of you who are watching this in our community, or those of you who are considering joining our community, Dollar Growth Club, just listen. You want to make sure that you are utilizing these tips. Don't just let them go in one ear and out of the other, so go ahead and do those things. Make your list, check your cabinets before you go out there. Make sure that you're, using coupons and, buying the generic when it makes sense, and buying them frozen fruits and vegetables when it makes sense. And when it's not gonna, for me, the only time I wouldn't do that is if it's gonna mess up the taste of what I'm doing. If it's gonna make my vegetables a little too soggy, I'm like, nah, I want them crisp. They need to be fresh. I want them crisp. But if it's not,
but like for us,
all that, like, these are good tips, great tips.
Yeah. Right. I was just gonna say, for like a stew, you don't know if you're not gonna say, those are fresh carrots versus frozen carrots, but you're right. For certain things, it's like, like for a salad, you don't want frozen vegetables, you want fresh. But like you're right, certain meals you do want fresh. And if it's within your budget, it's on your list, and it's something that you can stretch if you need to, then absolutely.
What about canned fruits and vegetables?
Okay. So
don't take too much time, just a little bit of time.
Okay. Personally, I am not a fan of them, but there are some brands that are still nutritious, right? What I think of as an extra sodium, especially in the vegetables. When they put them in those cans, there's a lot of sodium in them. So you have to rinse them and do all this other stuff. But for some people, that is maybe their only option. Just read the label to make sure there's no extra stuff in it, like extra preservatives or sodium in the fruit. You don't want a lot
all
of
that
sugar.
stuff out.
Yeah, you have to rinse it out. Rinse it all out. Yeah. I mean, for some people, yeah, if that's the only way that they can get fruits and vegetables, then I'm not going to say, nope, don't do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cause them little dollar cans,
Yeah, seriously. And you know what? Like when I was younger, we used to eat like vegetables out of like our parents would cook vegetables from the can sometimes. And like me, I would be frozen.
They don't taste the same. They don't taste the same. And they don't, a lot of those, I feel like are cooked all the way down. So you don't get, a lot of the nutrients, you know what I mean? So that's something to keep in mind. But, start where you are. I think that's the important thing. Start where you are and do what you can. Don't beat yourself up about, having canned vegetables if you can't afford the frozen vegetables, if you can't afford the organic, fresh vegetables. Like do what you can, and provide the best options for yourself that you can, given your budget. Yep. And your circumstance, like where you are. And you said it best. You said it right where you are. Start where you are. Start where you are. And their habits. So we're working up to it. You work up to, whatever it is that you ultimately see yourself, like the types of food that you're consuming, the types of food that you're purchasing, and the lifestyle that you want. You work up to that. One day at a time. It's a habit. Just create those healthy habits. There we go. There you go. All right. Well, listen, enjoy the day. Are you're taking Junior out to go in this snowy weather or whatever? I mean, this freezing weather it means outside? If that's what I have to do to preserve my windows from being busted up behind me, then that's what I'm going to do. Fair enough. Yeah, we'll probably go for a walk. All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for today's conversation. I'm happy to be a part of it today. That feels good. And we'll be talking more about physical wellness Monday stuff next week. Yes, ma'am. Y'all take care.